Hi, this is Dosh, and I'm with Psychic World. I want to thank you for listening in. I want to give honor to my ancestors, spirit guides, also Zulu War Nations. Zulu Spirit is here, coming back. Yes, actually is here. Also Nanny of the Maroons and Marie LaBoo, Voodoo High Priestess. We're going to be talking about the Indigo children. Exactly. The indigo, crystal, and rainbow children. We're going to be talking about age of Aquarius and Pisces. Now it takes 200, 2,166 years for the sun to go through a sign, and that sign in Pisces is over with. It's been completed, and they haven't found anything to do in all that time yet. Then they won't succeed. So we're looking at an old paradigm that has left us still kicking and screaming to hold on. You got to remember, we are in the age of Aquarius, and this ties up with the planet of Uranus energy. And Uranus' job is to shake up the status quo, so the new paradigms of ways of doing things can be born. Then we could see the new birth of political parties and emphasize peace over war. Perhaps we'll see a complete withdrawal of the United States troops from the Mideast. Now, there's going to be more rebellion, revolution, more planetary changes are likely to continue. Rebellion by 99%. It's going to be the us versus them mentally has brought about a wider gap between rich and poor. With the middle class fading rapidly, groups of urban survivalists have sprung up, some of them very extremist. And with the United States, with the supposed to be most powerful military in the world, which by the way also eat up the largest chunks of the federal budget, continues to police the rest of the planet while pushing the needs of its own citizens into a dark hole called label. Now we got to remember, the warrior archetype is certainly prevalent these days in politics. As a new paradigm is being birthed, the old paradigm isn't dying as easy death. You guys remember the meltdown in 2008, which resulted in a massive bailouts of banks, the collapse of institutions, and billions of stimulus dollars poured into the economy? Where did that money go? Did it do anybody any good on an individual level? No. It just bailed out the same criminals that started the problem in the first place. It was the Obama administration. He just got into office, equivalent of the FDR's. New deals passed during his first term in response to the Great Depression during the period of Social Security was implemented. As Uranus continues its transit through Aries, we will see the implementation of new social or economic programs that aid people rather than banks and corporations. So you see a new thing coming forth. And what you're experiencing right now is the aftermath of the age of Pisces, all of the side effects that they've done. And we want to move into ascension. But the thing is, for ascension to happen, there has to be a massive cleanup of operations on two different fronts. We have to clean up the things extremely and collectively. We have to clean up things individually and internally. The two are actually completely interrelated. Now, the internal cleanup operation is what we have been describing throughout this book, creating an internal environment of safety. I'm dealing with this one book, and trust by declaring that we already spiritual beings are allowed our incompletions to surface. So, liberating the energy behind them and opening the whole of being. It is only this that may allow us to pass into a fourth dimensional state where the problems of pollution simply do not exist. But there has to be an external cleanup first. And this is what you're seeing. We're cleaning up the mess of what the Pisceans left. Their side effects, their technology that's constantly raped the planet. And people are dealing with all of these personal issues on one-on-one, who did this, who did that. That's irrelevant, as no one could come up clean. And I'll get more into that in different shows about this pointing and who did this. I mean, the morals have really dropped. The external cleanup, I'm talking about different people. I mean, they have the nerve to different point at individual. No, you gotta realize right now, everybody in the Hollywood, hollow means whatever spirit that comes in to possess you at that time. Different character actors. You know, some people can't even come out of characters. All of them are set up for a fall. All of them are set up and target at the right time that they need to bring out different so-called celebrities that has been tied and have a dark covenant with Hollywood, weird, and certain people just happen to be at the time being brought in the front. I don't want to call the names right now because I want to stay focused on the show. But everyone has a time that they're gonna fall and be sacrificed. That's just the dark covenant that they're with. So this one person that's being constantly exposed throughout the media is just a distraction of what's really going on behind the scene and what's really happening and what's really being demanded. We're going into the sheep year. Now in the sheep year is great demand. The Chinese sheep year 2015, add those numbers together, it's the number 8, new beginnings. A lot of demands, a lot of groups of protests are going forth. It's already started. And so what the shadow government is doing is bringing out all of the different so-called actors, so-called celebrities that has been tied to their dark side. Their covenant has got an agreement with them to be exposed just to draw your attention off of what's really going on. Now, the external cleanup of operation involves the application of various forms of technology, both internal and external, that in fact are available at the present time. There exists, for instance, a type of special water that was invented by a certain, see, this is part of cleaning up, certain scientists in Turkey. A lot of things are being held back for a purpose. Exploitation, money, monopolizing. Like if you spray this water, the surface of it, into polluted rivers or lakes and allow it to seep down, it has the power to clear it up. This most magnificent stuff actually exists, but for some reason this water is not being released. It is not being discussed in scientific circles. There seems to be a dark force in the world today that is preventing it from coming out, which we know, and being applied. Rather, those forces are the mechanic nations of the secret government, or rather it has to do with being no way to release it and to make money by doing so. I believe all above. We only know that it is in the planet itself, and it's not quite ready to be recognized. What, in fact, might be a very simple solution to the entire pollution problem. Interesting. Perhaps because pollution itself corrects spawns so closely. Correction problem to our own internal state. So, if we were to clean up inside and open ourselves to the possibility, there would be no problem at all in finding a way to clean things up externally. But we have to clean things up inside us and external. That's so within, so without. so above, so below. But it seems that people are not quite ready to do this for all sorts of obstacles appearing blocking the application of already exist technologies. The same thing goes for the so-called energy crisis. An enormous part of the problems that we face with the environmental comes from our quest for energy to drive our industry powers, our automobiles, heat our homes. We continue to pollute water and land with oil spills and other forms of nuclear chemical contamination that comes from our use of unclean, unsafe source of energy, when the possibility unlimited amount of clean, free energy and technology is to tap into, we have known for centuries. Interesting. So technology plays a big part on blocking the clean energy because it's solar energy. Now, I'm talking about the energy, the free energy. I don't want to go into that because I want to stay focused on the indigo children. But another way for ascension to happen is these indigo children. A shift to a higher dimensional consciousness for the inhabitants of this planet may be occurring through the apparent mutation of human genetic substance. There are new kinds of human beings appearing on Earth, beings that may very well be the natural bearers of higher form of consciousness. We are just begin to realize that these children are among us and nobody knows for sure who they are, why they are here, and what their presence really pertains. We believe that they may be very well the heralds of coming shift in dimensional level. Many of their characteristics are just what we would expect if the shift were to come by a basic transmutation of a genetic material. Interesting. Now, one of these groups are called the Indigo children. These children were first noticed by a physiologist, a sensitive woman named Nancy Ann Tapey, who perceived a special spectrum of colors in dominant human aura. According to her, this is a basic typology of human auras that indicates according to a dominant color, personality type, as well as what the person's mission is in life and what they have come into the world to do. She became aware of the spectrum of colors and appearing of auras has changed throughout the course of history. She noticed that, for instance, the personality types associated with the colors of fuchsia, magnetic, magnet, had disappeared at the beginning of the 20th century. She anticipated that a new personality type would appear towards the end of that century with a dominant color to replace them. Sometime in the late 1970s, she began to notice that children were being born with a dark blue or indigo color as the dominant shade in their auras. Miss Tappy is not certain when the indigo children actually began to arrive, but she feels that today's 90% of the children under 10 years old are indigos, and that before long everyone born will belong to that class. Since the discovery, I don't think she's the first one to discover it, I'll just talk about it. But she do have a book called Indigo Children, and New Kids on the Block Have Arrived, and they list the different authors, and it talks about though they may in fact be here to lead the way to a new level of consciousness for the entire planet. If they are not understood and treated appropriately, their extraordinary abilities may help to bring about disasters rather than to save us from them. Now here we talk about 10 characteristics that the authors mentioned. This is the paraphrase. One, this is indigo children going into the different characteristics. A feeling of royalty, They seem to know without being told that they are spiritual beings, and that they tend to carry themselves with a certain sense of dignity and certain certainty about who they are. Two, they know that they deserve to be here and are surprised when they find that older people don't necessarily feel the same way. I can definitely vouch for that, because I would always take a couple of years ago, I was always take one of the children into barber shops, and they were treated indifferent, even though it would biologically look like the men in the barber shop. They always seemed to get irritable and didn't like the fact or their characteristic. Even though they didn't say anything, they was picking up the energy, something different about them. And I had to keep changing barbershops back and forth. Then the ancestor showed me something. I don't know if you ever seen the movie called Harlem Nights with Richard Pryor, a lot of comedians in there. Richard Pryor, what is it called? Eddie Murphy, Red Fox, a few more. But and Della Reese is in there. Well, you remember the one guy when Richard Pryor first opened up candy, sugar, called Sugar Ray. And do you remember the little boy that did the errands for Richard Pryor? He would run back and forth with cigarettes. He said, "This is for Mr. Ray. I have his cigarettes." And the guy like, "Bring him on in." And so when he came to inside the gambling room, he said, "Get this kid out of here. They bring me bad luck." And he didn't like his presence at all. And the universe showed me that same picture when I was bringing this young boy back and forth to the different barbershops. And this was in Los Angeles. At the same spirit is on those men too. They don't like the Indigo, crystal, and rainbow children. It's a threat or something. So I had to stop bringing them there and find inside other ways to get his hair cut. Now he's just letting it grow. Interesting. Wanted to stop there, but I'm going back. It says they know that they deserve to be here. I'm not surprised when they find that older people don't necessarily feel that way. And you see a lot of attacks on the different children. There's one Dr. Umar Johnson. He's helping with these same children. He's a school psychologist. He helps test children. And he's on YouTube as Dr. Umar Johnson. He's all over the place. He's good. And he talks about how the public schools are prisons and the teachers are the police. And a lot of these indigo children and these crystal children and rainbow children that are coming here, they do not fit into that mold. They don't fit into the box of the public school. It's so cookie cutter and like a control environment. They don't fit into that. You got to realize these children have come here already equipped with internal knowledge. You leave them in their own space and world. They create. You got to remember that the old paradigm, the old people, the old schools have forgot to create. You've been so caught up into the Pisces realm of control, monitoring you, and telling you what to do, go to church, do a holiday, celebrate this day, don't go this day, don't go here, don't go there. Okay, it's 9 to time, wake up from 9 to 5, go to work, pay your taxes. Okay, you get sick, go to hospital, take this drug, take this drug. That's over with. That's the old paradigm. These children coming here being natural, organic, not following those type of rules. They can't fit into that mold. And parents, stop trying to force them to. And Dr. Umar Johnson comes here and talks about they want to diagnose your child with ADD. I'll get into that more with the Indigo children. Government already has this. You gotta think, gotta realize they have a think tank. They way ahead of you. They knew these children were coming, and they were ready for them with these vaccines and drugs to break down their energy, their vibrational frequency, so they be slow and get diagnosed with autism, slowness, retardedness, so they can put them on more drugs like Recnin that actually leaves your child sterile, especially your boys. And they got a big settlement case against that now. And mothers, do not give your babies that Similac carnation milk. Breastfeed your child. If you can't breastfeed them, pump the milk into a bottle and put it aside. Find something organic. That they already found cases of larvae in the Similac milk formula, very low vitamins. That's not made for our children. That's not made for African children, African American children. That's not made for melanated people. They have a very low vitamin content. That's made for the European, the synthetic. That's all that's synthetic. We're organic beings. We can't take and then digest that crap. It had strands of rat hair in it. Stay away from the vaccines. They're poisonous now. They're not the same. These children, Indigo, cannot take it. It actually sends them into a state of withdrawal, and then they start trying to diagnose them because of the vaccine, and which they cause the problem. It talks about public schools. They can't fit. They can't fit into no church. That's another institution of what to do, when to do, rules, regulations, and stuff to keep dogmatic teaching to keep you blocked, limited, in a box on one dimension. No, the universe is constantly expanding, not withdrawing. Okay, it talks about they simply do not understand the ideas of low self-esteem, guilt, or sense of inferiority, of subservience. In other words, bowing down underneath a lower law. It is as if they simply are not afflicted with victim consciousness, like so many of the grown human beings are always playing the victim, haven't been beaten and beaten down like the humans now, the adult humans. At least if they are appreciated and allowed to develop in their own ways, and that's what you should allow them to do. I say private online homeschools. Okay, homeschool is better. See, we're doing a new thing, this old way of thinking. And I like the way Dr. Umar talked about the public schools were only made for basic skills and reading mentality to get you into their force field. Not force field. Yes, these children are protected by a force field. Get you into their work field. They do not need to be told who they are or educated or trained to have a feeling of self-respect. Sometimes they give startling and disconcerting accounts of their own nature. Disconcert. They do have a problem with any form of authority imposed upon them. It is not that they are disrespectful or fundamentally rebellious. It is just that they do not understand authority that is exerted without explanation and without their constant being requested. So these children are like, why do I have to do this? That's not being disrespectful. See, the old paradigm is like, children are to be seen and not heard. You do what I say and that's it. Well, that's over with. These children are curious and they want to find out exactly what's going on and why are you guys still on this level. Basically what they're saying. And you wonder why police act so quick to want to shoot them, especially marinated people, marinated type African American young youths. Too many have been shot, killed during the snake year and also during the horse year. And you wonder why all the protests. And you have to watch the attack and the target on these children that come forth to help with the ascension of this planet. And you will see that's why the different beings and other forces are trying to block and stop it. There are there are things they simply will not do. They will not wait in line, for example. I don't blame him. I must be a older Indigo scout. I don't wait in line. I'll go back to my car and start burning some sage, and you can see the people scatter. Then I go up there and do what I have to do. Not actually in the building, because some idiot being like, she's trying to set the place on fire. No, I'm not trying to set the place on fire. They will not waste time just for the sake of obeying a rule to keep them in order. Well, I'm Aquarius and I'm under the influence of Uranus, so I can actually agree with that one. 35. Number 3. Number 6. Generally, excuse me, they are irritated by imposed orders and rules of behavior or organizations that do not encourage or allow them to use their own creativity to deal with the situation. Notice how the government, the United States, is blocking a lot of people's creativity. They just want you to go into their workforce. Well, these children can't deal with it or will not tolerate it. And when you see these public schools, all they do is test, test, test. Test for this, test for that. They're only testing to weed out the ones that will obey their rules, and they can monopolize and influence and fool the ones they can't. They just disregard. They are extremely creative socially. They find spontaneous and positive ways of interacting with each other. And they can see through ordinary ways of doing things, both at home and at school. They tend to be disinclined to obey the rules when they see ways of improving upon them. This makes them seem to be nonconformists and rebellious, but their basic motive is to make things work more smoothly and not for the good of all. They prefer to be with other indigos or other people on their level of consciousness and can appear unfriendly and even antisocial when others of their kinds are not around. They can become morose and inward and quite sensitive to being misunderstood. This can cause real problems at school where they frequently are misperceived as learning disabled or hyperactive. This misdiagnosis are quite dangerous, and that's where Dr. Umar Johnson comes in and intervene on this panel group of school districts and wanna-be cookie-cutter teachers that want to put everybody in the same mold. He's quite active and loud. Well, when I was going to elementary school and junior high, we played loud. How do you play quietly? And we ran. We did kickball. We did tetherball, relay races. We were on the bars, working out, and very hyperactive. Went into class, had milk monitors. So I don't know where this came from. Like, he's too loud, he's too active. We need to give him a shot of some Recna and calm him down. We think he have ADD or H. That's bull. What kind of mess is that? And what bleeding heart started setting up these rules? That's why you have to start changing the educational system and getting these bleeding hearts out and these middle class Anglo-Saxon women out, because their kids play quietly, which I doubt, unless you drug them up. No. Especially in the 70s and 60s, 70s, 80s. Very active. I lived in a very active neighborhood. We ran and walked everywhere. We didn't need a bus and all of that. We got there actually sometime before the bus. These people, they're trying to turn into zombies with through all of this Recna and all these drugs they're giving these children, these vaccines. Parents, do not give your children's vaccines. Mothers, start looking and start getting into the business of midwives. Get them out the hospitals. You see these middle class women. You see a lot of the Anglo-Saxon women are getting into delivery at home. And don't try giving a deliver baby in the pool. One stupid woman tried to do a delivery in a swimming pool, I think with her husband, and wind up drowning the baby. Get a midwife, midfeed. Someone can work with you and help you at the house, and not in no pool and water. Always trying to do something different. Then they mess up. Who they gonna blame? Themselves. Stop following after people that are leading you the wrong way. You don't want to go to the hospitals because they just want to drug your baby or put a chip in them. I remember something Dick Gregory said. He said every child born after 2000 under, no, 2000 over has a chip in them. And the hospital is trying to put chips in and track them. It's impossible to make them behave or by quit tripping or threatening them with disapproval. They know who they are in a way that lower dimensional beings can hardly conceive of. So who's the lower dimensional beings? You are the ones that are thinking in the box, that's not expanding, that's not creating anymore, that has got out of being natural, has got out of being organic, that's constantly eating the junk food and sugars, that's been programmed, that's constantly watching TV, being programmed, constantly watching these fake ass celebrities vicariously living through beings of these so-called celebrities in all their homes, houses, cars, money they make, who's worth this and that. It's not helping you any. They're not helping you any. Ignore it. That's all advertising. They pay a lot of them to advertise. All of that is not theirs. They're using that to lure you in as bait. And I notice these new children that are coming in, these 21st century children, I work with some, I have some, they don't even know who half these celebrities are, these so-called celebrities. I'm talking about the mainstream ones. I'm not talking about the real ones, like your Marvin Gaye's, Barry White's is going on, and your, what is that, Miles Davis, and your, so many of them that's going forth, Donny Hathaways and stuff like that. No, I'm talking about the mainstreams that are in these different cults and in these different Illuminatis and stuff that they got trained and slaved to the industry to keep them on a string, to keep you advertising their stuff, to keep you lured and spending your hard-earned money into their trap. So half of them don't even pay attention to this type of stuff or look at that. They know who they are. And they know who they are in a way that lower dimensional beings can hardly conceive of, and cannot be made to feel that they are inferior beings when threatened. They in fact can become quite violent. It talks about Nancy Tappy believes that the children who have over the last decade are so involved in acts of violence against these teachers, parents, and peers have in every case been indigo children. They are not shy. They know what they need and generally have no difficulty in making you aware of it. Interesting. 35. And usually when people are sad, they don't do anything. They just cry over their condition. But when they get angry, they bring about a change. This is Malcolm X saying this. I'll say it again. Malcolm X says usually when people are sad, they don't do anything. They just cry over their condition. But when they are angry, they bring about a change. And these children of indigo are bringing about a change. Star children are different. Somebody says, thank God. As of now, our star children have been divided into 3 categories: indigo, crystal, and rainbow. Star children have chosen specific parents who will help them develop their natural abilities. So if you are a parent of a child you know is different, your child probably chose you to help them help others in their spiritual path. How lucky are you to be chosen as a parent of one of these incredibly gifted souls here to help the earth. Now, the term indigo child was coined 17 years ago by Nancy Ann Tappy, a parapsychologist who developed a system for classifying people, personalities according to the hue of their auras. Quick review described in her 1982 book, Understanding Your Life Through Colors. Now, according to her, auras have been entering the exiting Earth throughout history. So she talks about they have been entering and exiting Earth throughout history. For example, aura colors such as fuchsia, magenta disappeared from the gene pool 100 years ago, and new colors began to appear. Indigo children have been incarnating on the earth for the last 100 years after World War II. A significant number were born, and these are the indigo adults of today. However, in the 1970s, a major wave of indigos was born. And so we have a whole generation of indigos who are now in their late 20s and early 30s who are about to take their first place as leaders in the world. Now, indigos continue to be born up to about 1970 and 1992 with understanding and amazing ability. Indigos that have arrived during the 1970s have district warriors personalities. They will stand up and fight for what they think is right and what they believe. They also know when they are being lied to and manipulated, and will not comply with any system that may be limiting or dysfunctional. Indigos also have a little or no tolerance for dishonesty. They are here to show us that the archetype system, archaic, that means old systems in schools, governments, parenting, and healthcare are not healthy and must change, or we will continue to fail globally as citizens. Larger numbers of indigo children started arriving around 1992. In fact, if your child has been born after 1992, there's a good chance you have an indigo child. Now remember that this isn't a bad thing. You are very, very lucky to have a star child. So feel honored that you have been given this incredible gift. And try to understand them. Don't fit them into no box, no cookie cutter. Treat them like a clone, like, oh, so-and-so does this and does this. They don't do that. They're authentic. Do any of you remember the word authenticity? Have you forgotten being original, authentic? They're not carbon copies. So don't treat them like that or compare them to other schools. Kids in the public schools, they're being programmed to go into the government's workforce. Public schools do not create leaders. They create followers. Public schools do not create entrepreneurs. They create workers for McDonald's. Children are not born, indigo children are not born into the indigo soul ray of incarnation and evolution, which mean they have access to clairvoyance and healing abilities and have indigo blue in their auras. This means they have access to the gift of clairvoyance and healing. They are also able to access what may be termed the fourth and fifth dimensions of consciousness. Now remember, majority of people here on this planet are in the second level consciousness on the third level planet, while most humans have, that's what I was just sharing, access only third and fourth dimensional consciousness, a higher dimensional access. Together with the indigo ray soul gifts means that indigos are naturally more intelligent, probably why the older generation is more apprehensive, jealous. Yeah, jealous. You got grown ass people jealous of these kids and their gifts and their creativity, their liveliness, their freedom. Because they're not free. Oh, you think you're free because you go to 9 to 5. Try something out of the ordinary. You'll be worrying about how you're going to pay this. Get back to work. More sensitive and more clairvoyant. How many older people gifts are laying dormant? Where's your sensitiveness and clairvoyance, mental telepathy? I bet you most of you guys can't even meditate, not browbeating you, for 10 minutes without having that mental mind, which is what is attached to the external technology, bombarding you with all kind of junk. And stop feeding yourself junk. You feed yourself junk on TV, that's what your mind will entertain. More sensitive, more clairvoyant. They are also creative. How many people are still being creative and often able to access the left and right brains with ease, making them artistically gifted technology components and adventurous. Competitive, they are competitive and adventurous. Their gifts also include psychic and healing abilities. Now remember that your indigo child has chosen you for their parents or parents. It may be difficult task, but you have important roles in turn. Your star child has undertaken the task of raising your consciousness to a higher vibrational frequency. And remember, the indigo children are passionate in their belief. Whatever they may be, it can often be overwhelming for them. And the higher vibrational frequency is what you stay in when you're able to access these gifts that we're talking about. Clairvoyance, mental telepathy. But when you're taking drugs, alcohol, eating heavy foods, beef, pork, all white rice, sugar, white breads, and greasy stuff, lots of cheese and fast foods, then your vibrational frequency is lower. You don't have the energy heightened up to connect with the universe, and your gifts lay dormant and soon disappear. Now these children want to, and that's why they're scared and intimidated, your government, of these children, because they can't get that high. Their frequency can go so far. So they want to sedate your children, give them vaccines. I know one lady, she just got 2 of her children taken from her by going to the county facilities and asking for more help because she was living in a hotel, and they figured like, okay, you can't take care of these kids. We'll take them from you till you get better facilities. And she was pregnant on top of it. And my sister was calling me and telling me, okay, you know what? They took her kids. I said, what kids? Her kids. I said, what happened? Well, she went to get more help. And the kids' father's in jail. And she needed to get a place to stay and more food. And the social worker got the kids out the chair and took them around the side door, and they left and brought the police up there. Watch who you get assistance from, parents. And she's pregnant. And after she just had this baby a few weeks ago, the doctor called the baby right in. And they said the baby was primo, which I don't believe. I'm like, I thought usually they wait for about a month or 2 for the baby to go back for a checkup. No. I could bet you 10 out of 10 that baby has a chip in him already. A little nice cute boy baby. And if she don't watch it, and I share with her, don't go to the hospital. She didn't listen. She went. She didn't go find a midwife. I shared with her, don't take your children up to these county facilities for public assistance when you're there, if you just don't have to. I bet you she took them right back up there. Once you're in the system and they take your children like that and don't go away, and believe me, they're monitoring that one too. They want your children. They want those gifts. They want the energy for themselves. I get more into that regarding Trayvon Martin, Michael Brown, body parts, stealing it, melanated people, the original people, older people needing hearts, trying to prolong their lifespan on this planet through mechanics and stealing other people's body parts. That's a no-no. Rama article that deal with them. Rama was sharing with me that he has destroyed the obstacles. These children want to know the truth and want to break down the patterns of traditional thinking. The Indigos have a specific purpose. Their purpose is to seek out the truth and change our archaic systems. That means the old system, the old paradigms. A thought on the old energy grid. See, the old energy grid is falling away, people. I'm not falling away with it. That's that third level Christ grid. Those that are still caught up with hate, crime, racism, prejudice, corporate greed, lasciviousness, pervertedness, pointing finger at other perverted people. Can you imagine perverted people pointing the finger at other perverted people? And call who's the most perverted? Is that what you guys are trying to say? Don't let me get started on Malaysia. You need to hear Dick Gregory talking about how the wealthy people fly to Malaysia, and in that place, in that state, country, they actually can order up a 4-year-old, a 3-year-old, a 6-year-old boy in a hotel, or a girl, baby girl in a hotel, and have sex with it. And they got the nerve. These are the same wealthy people that are pointing their finger at Bill Crosby. Can you imagine a pot calling what my grandmother used to say? The pot accusing the kettle. How did that go? The pot calling the kettle black. I can do this, but don't do this. No, they got him on other charges for what he's trying to go forth with. And said, in fact, let me share this right here. I'm stopping at Grid. Every celebrity, so-called celebrity in the mainstream, that's tied up with the Bilderbergs, tied up with the Illuminatis, that's tied up with the Masons, has a price to pay. All of them has an oath they taken. And when their time comes, they become a sacrifice. They made sacrifices to get in there. And eventually they become the sacrifice. So if they ever get out of line or do something that's contrary to what they're telling them to do, they got something held over each one of their heads. I don't care which one it is. And when that time's come, they will pull it out the closet and expose and put it all through the media. Who controls and monopolizes the media? The Jews. The fake ass Jews. I'm not talking about the Hebrew or Israelites. Their purpose is to seek out the truth and change archaic systems of thought on the old energy grid. They are creating a path of unveiling lies and secrecies to help crystal children who will see the world from an elevated, interesting, versus Indigo in the crystal platform, an elevated platform in spirituality and highly evolved viewpoint, and with complete and unconditional love. Now the crystal children then make their path for the rainbow children. So this is what you're looking at. The Indigo came here to make a path for the crystal children. And you have lots of scouts that went forth. Now the rainbow children, who will help instruct us on how to live in love and abundance in the ages to come. Now many Indigos battle depression in their young lives. They are such beautiful and brave souls. This is because they see through everyone with great intensity. What happened is these young children are told how wonderful life is once they hit puberty. They have hormones coursing through their body, changing who they are. They may not make straight A's. They don't get through their bodies changing who they are. They may not make, who they are, scholarships or prestigious colleges. And they don't feel like they fit in. They fight with their parents and they fall into a depression. There are no tinted glasses on these children. No to all indigo children suffering from depression. This is advice is offered. Never lose sight of who you are. Draw strength and courage from just being able to be yourself every day of your life, and know that things will get better. And they will get better. Every second of every day, know you are beautiful and worthy of being. Know that you are a beautiful gift to humanity and you are here for a purpose to help us. Draw strength in knowing what your purpose is and be proud of that special purpose of who you are. Your path is a hard one, but you have been chosen because you are a soul who has the strength and wisdom for this task. The earth and the people on it are lucky to have you here helping us. Never give up on your purpose and keep your hope and faith always on your side. On behalf of the parents everywhere who are sorry that our world energy parenting skills are falling dismally short when connected to children of the 21st century. With the energy changing, we need to fine-tune our parenting skills and understand our psychic children. This means venturing into a new territory that we are unfamiliar with. It is uncomfortable for us and we may be scared. Please be patient. We will try to face our fears and try to help you with your purpose in life. We are not perfect, or we are trying hard to do what is best for you, although it won't always be right. Find love and forgiveness in your heart and bear with us. Indigo children have incredible specific attributes. They may act like royalty because they have feelings that they deserve to be here. They have great self-worth and have difficulty with authority. They may be unwilling to do certain things and often see a better way of doing these things. They can get very frustrated with a rigid system. I know I do. With no creativity, I have to be created. They may feel alone, different, or even antisocial unless they are with others like them. Indigo children don't fall for the guilt trip and are not shy in letting you know that what they think or need. They don't care what others think of them. They may be diagnosed with ADD or ADHD. It is critically important that if your child, that if your child, it's critically important as if your child, is diagnosed with ADD, Indigo kids may feel alone and different. That's nothing new. Or even antisocial unless they are with others like them. Indigo children don't fall for the guilt trip. They are not shy in letting you know what they think or need. They don't care what others think of them. They may also be diagnosed with ADD or ADHD. which is critically important that if your child gets diagnosed with ADD or ADHD, that you don't run out and join the medical child bandwagon. I would say call Dr. Umar Johnson before you even do that. Medicating these special children will severely inhibit their abilities. That means it'll bring down their vibrational frequency. They won't be able to use their gifts. They're telepathic. And that's exactly what the government don't want them to do because they can't do it. You notice people that can't do anything are intimidated, jealous, and want to block you from doing things. They, especially in the gift of the supernatural. This is a really easy option for many parents who just aren't patient or can't handle their indigo children. Try to look at the bigger picture. You and your child have both previously agreed to your arrangements before you even set foot on this earth. Know that children can be handled without medication, parents. When we were growing up, I think the only medication I remember was castor oil. It kept you clean. Body like a freeway. And we ate organic. Organic wasn't a specialty or something foreign or expensive in those days like today. It was already naturally. Food was already whole. Cows were being fed grass, not each other. Pharmaceutical medicines wasn't on the rise as it is today. And look at all of these stupid ass medicines they're bringing on the scene with all of these side effects and also lawsuits. So I only could think of castor oil. And that was all we needed. You kept your body clean, the headache, stomach ache, and we ate good, fresh food, fruit. And it was funny because when we would run around, we would skate throughout the neighborhood. We had a community. You notice that you don't have communities like you used to, melanated people, black people, African people, Moors. But dominantly our neighborhood was all black, all Moors, all melanated people. And we didn't eat candy and cakes. That wasn't in my mom's budget. She fed us what was necessary, basics. We would skate down the street to different parks and stuff, unbothered and unhindered, not threatened or fearful. We would pick apricots, peaches, pomegranates, bananas, figs, kumquats off the trees. That was our food. We didn't even come home for lunch. She had to go find us for dinner, and we still wasn't hungry. We had the energy from that pure fruit. And everybody at that time seemed to be growing some type of fruit. Peach trees, apple trees, apricot trees, fig trees, bananas, grapes. And that right there, that was our shopping. One lady was like, you don't have to pull on my apricots. Come in the yard and just pick what you want. You know, we had a brown bag and just fill it up. And by the time we get to the house, we don't even be hungry. She's like, you guys sit down and eat. Don't waste your dinner. Parents don't do that. If your kid's not hungry, don't make them eat. They ain't sick behind and they're still healthy. Because basically we was living off of energy. We're living off of prana. You know what prana is? It's that energy that's in the atmosphere. We could live off of prana. Pure energy. Well, we would breathe from... Forgot how to breathe. We used to breathe like the dolphins and the orchid whales. Forgot how to breathe. Now we were shadow breathing. I say shallow, like shallow water. That's the breathing. Not the pervert breathing. Well, perverts are shadow breathers. And you're not taking in any breath from your solar plex. Breath is life. And that's another whole different subject there I want to get off. But we would breathe. Now people need oxygen tanks to assist in their breathing. You know they got an oxygen bar in China. You got to go in there and pay for oxygen, just like you go pay for a drink. Get the mask on your face and sit there and take in oxygen air. That's how polluted they made the air. People forgot to breathe. And we come back to the house, we need no medicine or medicated. Only thing we had is maybe the most critical thing that we had as growing up is a stomach ache. Maybe from eating too much during them holidays, which I have gotten out of these holidays. And my mom would come along and give us some castor oil. Clean you right out. Dr. Gross was saying your body should be like a freeway. Anytime there's an obstruction, you go to the doctor. He would diagnose it as something to get some money. So watch it. So we could handle things without medication. We didn't need the police up in our neighborhood. We handled things ourselves. Grew our own food and fruits. My grandmother, she used to grow greens, collard greens and mustard greens so high. I would walk through the field with her, back of her house. They would be taller than me. Next thing you know, she'd be picking them, cleaning them, and having greens that day for dinner. Brown rice and collard greens. It was so good. This may be very difficult for some parents, so consider joining a group, support groups, or even better. Order up an angel to help you. Yep, archangels, OPAL, OPAL, help with the star children. Don't go by the doctor's diagnosis. He's on the old grid. Don't go with old grid thinking. Don't be putting your child on medication. I'm talking about melanated people. And you start all this mixing and bumping and grinding and mixing different races that shouldn't be. And that's where the medication comes up. Some of them should be put on and sedated because you mix with the wrong DNA and energy. It's a difficult journey, but one that can be made through together. The problem of medicating indigo children is that it lowers their vibrational frequency. I talked about that. Even with the crystal and the rainbow, they will be unable to find it extremely difficult to fulfill their life purpose at this low level energy. And that's probably why a lot of you adults are jealous of the different star children coming in, because you have lost your life purpose because of your low level energy. Now you're just going through the phrases and just going through life in a daze out of habit. 9 to 5, wake up, go to work, celebrate this day, celebrate. Y'all don't even know half the damn holidays you celebrating. Half of them things don't even apply to you. These man-made holidays, spending your money, just commercialized. It don't have anything to do with your culture. These holidays that you're celebrating has no kind of cultural or spirituality about it. One thing has nothing to do with the other. There are many ways to help your indigo child. Just greed. It's just corporate greed. I'm going back to the holidays. Who's going to bring me a present? What I get? Frills and thrills. You lost connection. You lost your connection. These children are coming here to bring it back. First and most importantly, respect them. Treat them like you want to be treated, and you will have a great start, a great relationship with your special child. Practice unconditional love. In fact, we should practice unconditional love with family members, friends, and all people by opening our hearts. Give your child choices and give them reason. Explain why you have made specific decisions. Never say just because or just because I say so to a child. Let your child make hers or his rules and fair consequences for breaking them if they think is inappropriate. Or it is appropriate. Don't talk down to them and always be honest. Remember that they will know if you're lying. Don't use guilt when talking to them, and don't try to manipulate them in any way. Provide emotional support and really listen to them when they are talking. Respect their privacy and teach them to respect others. Admit when you make mistakes and apologize. How many of parents do that? Be involved in their lives. So many parents are so easy to push these kids off to public school teachers. They can't do anything. They got problems themselves. They can't even deal with their own kids. These teachers are worried about paying off their student loans. They're trying to hurry up and get that taken care of. You got some of these middle class European women teaching your kids and have to go in certain areas and get so much percentage off of their student loans because they are in this area. They hate it. They don't like being there. They just working off their student loans. I went to my daughter's graduation. I said, look at these veterans. These people had to be in their 60s and 70s getting their masters, not masters, but bachelor's and doctor's degree. I said, they only trying to keep from paying that student loan because you know the longer you stay in college, it stays dormant. The student loan is not activated. And that's exactly what they do. I said, they'll continue school till they drop dead so they won't have to pay back that student loan. Be involved in their lives and use rewards to help them get through frustrating times. Yes, they don't need no more frustration. These kids don't have the same atmosphere that we had back in 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s. Start changing around the late 80s. Got more dysfunctional neighborhoods, communities breaking up, freeways coming through, moving families and communities, separating different things. They don't have the same. Don't be so quick to jump on the teacher's side. Find out what's going on. Don't reprimand them in front of the teachers. So you deal with the issue with the teacher. Because I had to tell one teacher, because I do online homeschooling, and I had to tell one teacher, okay, I'll deal with this end. And when I get off the phone, and right now I'm dealing with you, she's going to laugh like I'm going to reprimand my child in front of her. She must be out of her damn mind. I said, no, I'm calling to find out what you're doing on your end. You're talking about assignments aren't turned in. I see half the assignments turned in. You're not grading them in time. Find out she has 250 students online. Well, don't come just picking on this one child because you can't get your job done. And I told her that. Then you have some of them come in and send K-mails, that's what they call, emails to you. Your son or daughter is failing, but there's time to catch up. I don't want to hear that negative advice. If you can't build up a child and encourage him, don't send no stupid text like that to me. I had to get online and tell him, okay, K-mail, I'm back. I don't receive failing. The assignment is not due to January 27, 2015. What in the world are you talking about failing? That's frustrating to a child. Come on now, you could word things better than that. You're supposed to be an educator. I said, he has plenty of time. It's not over with yet. So she K-mails it back talking about, well, don't wait till the last minute. Don't worry about what to wait till the last minute. You got so many other students to deal with. Deal with that. Don't just come pinpointing and picking on this one student just because you want to get your holiday shopping on and want to hurry up and grade real quick. And you really haven't graded the things you're supposed to. So I stay on them. Parents, stay on these damn teachers and don't sign no contracts. Then I was signing a contract with the school. Like, you have to sign, even online classes, they send you a contract to sign between the student and the parent, right? And so the parent, the student teacher gonna tell me, will you sign agent after his name? I said, and your point? Well, that, I said, I know what it means. That's why I put agent after his name. But the contract is between me and the student. I said, the student is a minor. How in the hell he gonna have a contract between you and the school? I'm the parent. I'm intervening. That's why I put agent. He's got held accountable for it. Well, we're gonna have to send this through the main office just in case we get audited. I said, well, send it through there. Let them audit you. When they audit your ass, then let them call me and deal with me. But you don't be sending no message or trying to get no contract between no minor student and your school. That's crazy. It's unheard of. And don't be sending me no negative K-mail. You build up a child. So they started a meeting. They're probably glad when I get out of their little program, which I can't wait too soon. Because number one, why a minute? He started in first grade. It didn't start off like that. They had really good teachers, really good equipment, and actually it was started off as private funding. Later on, they couldn't keep it up, so they changed it and split it to private funding. You had to pay $500 a month to public, online public. I really didn't notice till like in the middle of the stream when I had to like really go off on like 4 or 5 teachers that came in with this Mickey Mouse attitude and cookie cutter ass curriculum. And I said, you act like you're in public school. Well, this is public school. I said, well, you don't gotta treat it like that. You don't have to just be so dogmatic about it. Just because you working off a student loan and can't stand your job, you shouldn't have never gotten this field. I'll be talking on that subject too. People that are in positions that have no business in position because they don't have the talent for it. The talent is the energy. You notice people have different positions, but they don't have the energy for it or the talent. They just in it for the money, the paycheck. Yeah, that's about to change in 2015. Universe is moving them out of those positions. Back to the Indigo. How'd I get on that? Somebody needed it. Members, respect each other's. Admit that you make mistakes and apologize. Be involved in their lives. Use rewards to help them and get through frustrating times. Give them responsibilities, choices, and natural consequences. Lastly, appreciate their strengths and be open and willing to learn from them. Is your child an Indigo? And to find out, there's a list of things it talks about how to tell if your child's an Indigo. The New Children Have Arrived by Jan Tolbert Lee Carroll. And it says 10 answers. Find out if your child is Indigo. Ask them these questions. Do your child come into the world acting like royalty? Does your child have a feeling of deserving to be there? Does your child have an obvious sense of self? Does your child have difficulty with discipline and authority? Does your child refuse to do certain things that they are told to do? Is waiting in line torture for your child? Is your child frustrated by ritual-orientated systems and require little creativities like public schools and churches? Does your child see better ways of doing things at home and at school? Is your child a nonconformist? Does your child refuse to respond to guilt trips? Does your child get bored rather easily with assigned tasks? Does your child display symptoms of attention deficit disorder? Is your child particularly creative? Does your child display intuitiveness? Does your child have strong empathy for others? Did your child develop abstract thinking at an early age? Is your child very intelligent? Is your child very talented? Maybe identify as gifted? Do your child seem to be a daydreamer? Does your child have very old, deep, wise-looking eyes? Does your child have spiritual intelligence? And it talks about Uriel, like Jennifer Hoffman with the spiritual vice of Uriel Hills. And the Archangel Uriel, Rurel, emotional healing website talks about indigos and their struggle with thoughts of suicide. She says that the indigo children, among other children, follow through with suicide, leaving a trail of grief behind them. They have trouble accepting things, and since many indigos have had difficult childhood experiences, their wounds are often more painful, deep. The empathetic abilities serve to amplify the pain, and they feel and add it to the pain of those around them. So she talks about her son and her indigo friends, many of whom were struggling with their own problems. She felt that he was processing his friends and emotion as well as his own. They struggled for 3 years with this problem, going through counseling, drug therapy briefly, and spent most time talking drugs, things to make things worse. Now, whoever this woman is, Jennifer Hoffman, she was stupid for putting these kids on drugs in the first place. Drugs do not help the problem. They amplify it. So leave the drugs alone. You had a problem or going through emotional things, you talk to your child, find out what's going on. I do what you call past readings, past lives, stuck energy, find out exactly hypnosis, what's going on with this child's psyche and them. You got to realize we live plenty lives and have been and will be recycled back into this dimension until you ascend and break from this grid. So you don't just take it lightly. And a lot of things in public school. I think I could see public schools so being abolished and everyone's going on to online private schools in their own communities or families because government is not putting money into it. They don't have the time. They're bringing more illegal immigrants over to work the workforce, which taking up a lot of space in the public schools. So they want your basic reading, writing skills so the illegal immigrants can work in their force field and keep the economy of the old paradigm Pisces age going, which is over with. So I can see that so over with becoming so archaic, put out to pasture public school. I don't like too many things with the name public anyway. Public bathroom, public school, public library. You get too many crazy energies. You got some loonies coming to libraries now. They just sit up there and look at you and they ain't even reading the book, just looking over the book at you. Where are these perverts coming from? When has the library became a place of just weirdos coming in and sitting and glaring at you? Where's the security for that? I mean, that used to be a sanctuary, a place of quiet where you can study and do more research. Now they got all kind of different energies running in to block that research and that energy that you want and creativity. The government do not want you to be creative. That's why it took out so many things out of the public schools. Black word, public. When you think of public, I think of government, and I think he has a hand in it. But back to the online classes, the government got into the online class and started changing things and bringing in these cookie cutter teachers with this Mickey Mouse mentality and living in La La Land, talking out the side of their neck. They get on their own nerves. And I don't let them talk to the students because they don't need to hear that whiny ass voice. It's annoying, and they don't need to hear their negative tones and the way they pronounce the word. Unfortunately, I hate that word. Unfortunately, you have time, but and you're supposed to be an English teacher. Uplift. I can see why. Who was that talked about? Phil Valentine. One of the great men I look at, Dr. Umar Johnson, Dr. Phil Valentine, Dr. Claude Anderson on economic business, Dr. Michael Eric Dyson. He's good. He said Obama is not Moses, he's Pharaoh. Oh, this one, he's really good. Dr. Ishakamasa Barasago. He talks about European holidays of mental genocide, which is real good. And it's like, you know, you don't go into that. He talks about that, how the teachers, Dr. Umar talking about exposing these European teachers, female teachers, to your black son all day long. That's nerve wracking. I can't stand that whiny voice. Get over here, kids, and get over here. It's crazy. It would drive you crazy. That practically penetrates and just totally disturbs the flow of the atmosphere and the harmony. Now you know they're genetically modified. They can't even flow with the same sound and harmony in the atmosphere. So I don't want them to hear that. I want them to hear my voice, their creativity. I leave them to their self to create. Government don't want you to create. He's scared you're going to get something that's totally surpasses his understanding and totally helps for the ascension of mankind. So he bring these kind of whiny middle class or European women in to miseducate your children, block them off, make sure they don't think or create nothing. I ain't saying to make it like this. So no, it's getting too external technology and too what you call it, rigid and in the box, non-creativity. But and I like what's the name they coming against, like Will and Jada Pickett's children, because they talk about nature walks and climbing mountains, and they're totally against public school, and they're able to create, go forth, and people calling them crazy and misunderstood. I really believe they are part of the crystal children because of their age. I believe they're part of the crystal group. The crystal, not the rainbow, the crystal. Because you got to realize the indigos are well in their 30s, up to the 20s and 30s. The crystals come forth. Will and Jada, they may be indigo. And the indigos have crystals. Now the crystals are going to have, they're paving the way for the rainbow. I'll get more into that in my next program. So they're paving the way for the rainbow kids. But I like the concept. And they're the first children that age that I hear talk about prana. That's interesting. We'll get more into prana, exactly how that works. And they talk about how he wants to climb, I think it's Jaden, every mountain before he's 30, which is good. That's energy. That's how you do it. That's exactly how you do it and go forth. And he talks about the different things that they want to do and how they naturally have information that's internal, not external. And they move, and I go into the mountain, pick up energy, and you notice how they try to block off all of the different places that do have energy, and you have to really watch that. So yes, we need to move forward. And my next topic we'll talk about more. This would be tape 1 introduction for the new star children, Indigo, and I'll talk more about the prana and tie in with the Indigo children. So thanks for listening in. I'll see you next time. This is Dosh, the Psychic World. Thank you.